Welcome to the Michigan Travel Show, a kaleidoscope of stories about the people, places, and events that shape our great state.
Okay, boarding the Yankee Freedom to drive to Tortugas National Park. This big whopper boat here at the marina. There it is, drive to Tortugas National Park, out in the middle of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's a pretty wild ride out here.
Probably they don't want to like take off.
Happy shipmates to greet us. Okay, I think we should go upstairs. Leaving the port.
One person left in this one ship. Only one person. Lined up along the seawall, and you could walk from one end of the harbor to the other across the decks of those boats without ever stepping foot on land. A lot of short boats.
Okay, here's the seaplane that's getting ready to take off. See where he goes. He's going to go on the other side of the boat. Getting ready to take off. There he goes. Now he's going to take off right
now. First, I got a captive audience here. I'm going to take advantage of it. We're going to talk about what I want to talk about. Safety. 45-foot tall walls. Check them out. There are no guardrails. There are no safety lines. There's no safety nets. You can see now there's all these little archways. These are false embrasures. I'll explain what that means a little bit later. But look, they're only 2 bricks thick, hanging out over nothing. Don't walk all the way to the end. Bricks are strong, and mortar in between them, maybe not so much. Please be careful with the edges. Also, now you can see in these corridors here, you see just how dim it is, especially in the corners, the bastions, the corners of the fort. Those corner towers are called bastions. It's especially dark in there. Please be careful going up and down the spiral staircases in each of the bastions. Pay attention. Please be careful. Not a fun room to be in.
Boat all the way around the fort. Pretty cool. Inside the fort here.
If you're coming to the 20-minute talk, let's make sure we come all the way through the door off the path. National Park Service and the Rangers, they do need to continue to go in and out of the fort. They're very likely waiting out there to clear that sally port so they can get back in. So let's make sure we bring it as far in. I get it. This is chilly today. But see, it was big from the outside, but you can only see about 2 sides of it from outside the fort. Inside here, you can see all 6 sides, and you got to admit, it is pretty darn massive. It's one of those weird spaces where it looks bigger on the inside than the outside, like the TARDIS, if there's any other sci-fi doors in there.
Okay, there's Bush Key, which is a key just to the right of the whole. And the Sky Pirates, Mangroves on Long Key. There's an aerial view of the fort. Okay, and of course all the Civil War era cannons, muskets, you name it. Pottery. And how did they get those guns up there? Used a lot of hoist, to say the least. The reason this place is famous is because they used it. It's a deep water port. Most places are not deep water. So that's why this place became a fort. They used it. The U.S. military was looking for the place, and they say it's about a 50-foot deep inner harbor. But that's, like I said, why they used it. The deep harbor, which is pretty important when you get some major ships. Third system forts: Fort Jeff, Fort Pickens, Fort Barrancas. Number 12, Fort Taylor, which is at Key West. And of course the other ports are all in Alabama, Mississippi, and New Orleans on the Gulf Coast. The ever-shifting sands, Bush Keys to Long Key. At one time there was 11 ships, but Garden Key, which is what this fort is on, has stayed stable since the U.S. Army built Fort Jefferson in the 1800s. Used to be land all the way from here up to Bush Key. Now it's kind of gone. But there, some pictures. Yeah, pretty bustling with lots of nature here, with sea life. 100 square miles of underwater wonders. Okay, now time to go check out the fort a little more. This is what the coast kind of with all the little turtles. It's called Dry Tortugas because they're turtles, and there's no water here, so it's dry, and had a lot of turtles in its day. They still come most years, and it's a bird watcher's paradise because it's in the dead center of North America. They all stop here. Kind of cool. Dry Tortugas National Park. Cool. There's a great 360 view of this huge fort here, Fort Jeff. And we're starting at the entrance, and we're going to do a little 360. And here it is, 16 million bricks to build this colossal structure. And then a lighthouse there. There was an original lighthouse in the center of the courtyard here. It was built in the 1820s. There's another lighthouse on another island now, but that's what was here originally in the middle. Now, of course, they built that new lighthouse on top of the fort. I'm gonna do the easy to monitor, the touring Fort Jefferson, and there it is. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided building with a moat, which is obviously a water protection area, and the bastions on every corner. There's always what's on the corner of a fort, and we'll check this out. Like I said, 16 million bricks, and built in the 1840s and 50s in a prison during the Civil War. It was called Dry Tortugas for a reason. There was no water here, so they built cisterns, and they say it gets about 30 inches of rain. So the top filtered down through into 109 cisterns beneath and they hold, again, 1.5 cisterns could hold. Cracks in the settling floor allowed salt water to enter most cisterns. Did not affect a 92,000 on the parade ground. The cistern is still in use today. The one in the center of the fort is still in use. 92,000 gallons. Cool. And that's what it looks like when they used it. Archways going through here. Pretty cool. On the floor, you can tell most of the cannons have been taken out of here. You can tell the rotational factor of the cannons. They're all gone. The cannons are gone, but the marks of having them in here is still here. Like I said, in the I heard that there was never a shot fired in this out of this fort. Like I said, its main use was a prison back in the 1860s during the Civil War. That's what you can see outside of one of these windows. That's what you'd see. Been a lot of rework. A lot of new bricks have been brought in to fix up all the old stuff that's fallen apart. Okay, this foundation here in the middle right there was a place to house all the barracks for the soldiers in the 1860s. 3-story building right there. This was quite bustling place in its time. Pretty cool. They're still giving their tour out here. A lot of bricks have been restored here. A lot of things have been restored, especially on the outer walls where the ocean was tearing it apart. Even during the Civil War, they had steam condensers that could distill 7,000 gallons of fresh water per day from seawater. In order to supply, the 2 large condensers or boilers kept running night and day. Pretty cool. Access was through a hatch on the floor and each first-tier casemate. Here's a picture on the back side of the moat and the walkway that goes all the way around. Yeah, but there is the moat. Okay, this is one of the powder rooms, or you call magazines, where they would keep all of the ammo, gunpowder, and ammo inside one of these buildings. Got a round roof, kind of cool. There it is, 3C. Here is a boat. Then they've obviously found on shore here of when Cuban immigrants come over, or Haitians, has landed here on this island, and that's what it's looking like. It's not much of a boat, going 50, 60 miles across the ocean. The building right in front of us was to make red hot cannonballs, and they would cook the cannonballs and put them in the cannons and shoot them off. It could get a wooden ship on fire. There it is. Would cook them as they, and then they rolled down, and then they came out the end right here, and then they took them over to the cannons and shot them off. But here's the truth: never a single shot was ever fired out of this fort. Nope, built for all this, but the best offense is a great defense. Another officers' quarters. This officers' quarters right here, and was built in 48, built in 1863, and here's the ruins of it right now. There it is. It was the other side of how they did it. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to be heading up on top here in a minute. Okay, well, bread, bugs, and beef right there. Oh, wasn't good food out here. Flour, bugs, and sticks and dirt were the ingredients of bread. Meat was rotten to such an extent that dogs ran it. Bread was filled with black bugs. We pick out some and eat the rest. Vegetables were rare. Gleeful soldier wrote of it, enjoying a good red potato, sweet yellow turnips, and a good fresh beef. Yep, this was the oven area right in here. On the second floor, a lot more light. There it is over there. See the moat. Natural decay. So the moat wall was built in 1849 to 51. Didn't complete till 1873. And dozens of millet were sent to serve their terms. The tail, the sharks were kept in moat to discourage escapes. Appear almost. A prisoner named Fat Charlie once bought a 10-footer into the moat as a curiosity. He lived 2 months. Actually, prison breaks were not uncommon, and very few were successful, especially way out here. But that was built in the moat. It's amazing. They did this back in the 1840s and 1850s. Yep. Oh, they were going to build the second tier. They were going to put gun cannons and everything else, but it was the sand moved the foundation. In the engineers, fearful of adding more, we decided to leave the second tier unfinished. Nearby, 2 massive blocks of wrought iron. They were side piece for gun ports when anchored to make they could resist enemy hits as well as muzzle blasts from fort gun. But salt-laden moisture caused the iron to rust, expand, and move the masonry beyond. Wowee. Wasn't deep, but that's the moat. Wowee, a place like no other. And there's the lighthouse out there, another island. The one they've got 2 lighthouses out here now. There it is, another little island out there. Deep water port right out there. You see the deep water right out there. Shipping channel right out there. Okay, here is a view. I'm up on top of the fort here. Give you a quick 360 view on top now. Pretty impressive. Here's the lighthouse on Fort Jefferson. This is a man-made one. Well, early one. I mean, here in the last 50 years or something. And there's some more of the grounds. This is a replica cannon used back in the day. Obviously not an original, but a replica. So that's what they were kind of like back in the 1850s, 1860s. Another view of the fort here. I talked about park housing for employees and all kinds of personnel right there, that white building. And part of the fort is also used for housing. You can see the windows and doors on that section there, just above that red brick, just below that red brick. So, in fact, that whole section is for park personnel to stay here. Okay, here's a little more history of the fort. It's the largest all-masonry fort in the United States, built between 1846 and 1875. Protect the nation's gateway to the Gulf of Mexico. Supply and subsistence problems and the Civil War delayed construction. Section of fort were never completed because of fears of additional weight. Fort Jefferson illustrates a pinnacle of masonry fort architecture and engineering in the United States and features nearly 2,000 arches. Time, weather, and water continued to take their toll. This is ongoing stabilization and restoration. After Florida left the Union, the red bricks along the top of the fort wall were shipped from Maine, a distance of nearly 2,000 miles. From a distance, these built-in recessed section called blind and close look like additional gun posts at the very, very top. Yeah, you can see those. That is on the outside. The Corbello arches formed a ledge that helped prevent rainwater from running down the face of the fort. The wrought iron shutters opened when guns were fired and closed automatically between shots to protect the cannon and gun. The iron rusted the salt air expanded and pushed the bricks apart. Program to replace the shutters with composite replicas beginning in 2002. Okay, here's going to be a complete view, no obstruction view. Once again, all 6 sides of this thing being shown. It is pretty amazing. This is called a place like no other. Drive to Tortugas in Fort Jefferson, here out in the middle of the Caribbean, part of the USA, one of our fort coastal stations built in the 1840s and 50s. Okay, gonna walk out to this peninsula here along the sand. That'll be pretty cool. And then just came from the boat there. There's the boat, a catamaran, a double hull catamaran. The Yankee Freedom came out here, two deck boat. And there's the front of Fort Jefferson, and a few boats docked out here, hanging out a little while as other people are walking along this little peninsula here. Oh, the whole fort with the boats in front of it. Pretty cool. There's what it looks like from a little bit of a distance. During the Civil War, this was a major port because they had to refuel ships after the main battleship was sunk in Havana in 1898. The U.S. military strengthened its operations in the Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean to protect strategically important shipping. The concept pad concreted all the remains of a massive warehouse the U.S. Navy built to store huge amounts of coal required to fuel steam-powered warships that were replacing sailing ships. Another coaling facility was located at Gardens Key north side. Follow the seawall around the fault to see its remains. Each facility had stored 10,000 tons of coal. Right there. It's right out there. It's right there where all those platforms. I thought that was well, it was a dock where they put all the stuff. By 1902, the coaling shed and seawater distilling plant were finished. The plant could produce 60,000 gallons of fresh water per day. Today, the campground is located here. Right there, Caribbean. This was quite the place in its day. Now it's a campground. Now we got nuclear power. Pretty cool. Touring the underworld. From above below, two trails offer a glimpse of life in this marine park. So those are the coal docks. And the south coal docks on the, I thought, okay, they were docked, but for coal. I did not know this was they had steam powered, or basically distilling stations here. Snorkel trail, you can go all the way around the front. Pretty cool. Never snorkel. Pretty cool. Yeah, well, this is a marine water park. There's they say 10,000 acres, 90% of the park is underwater. Okay, people on the beach here. There is Loggerhead Key with, now they say that's 3 miles away, but it can't be. But anyway, that's the main lighthouse now on Loggerhead Key. And then this is the walkway on the moat here. Just the moat. Lots of little fishies. They like being in here.
Don't fall off.
Because it's protected. Everybody's checking out little fishy. And here's another side of the moat. Now that's called Loggerhead Key because when Mr. Ponce de Leon landed, he landed over more that way, and he found a ton of turtles, hundreds of turtles, loggerhead turtles, that they finally had for breakfast, because they didn't have much food on that ship when it came across the Atlantic. So they stopped there and ate lots of turtles back then in the 1500s. Okay, you can tell all on the bottom there, all those with the steel plates, those have all been restored. When I was here a decade ago, a lot of those were falling apart. They've done a lot of restoration, a lot of new brick there. You tell a lot of that newer brick, they're still working on some. They got housing quarters right behind here. You see the wood there. This is where park personnel lives. Okay, well, here's a part of the moat wall. Once again, it fell into the ocean. All these years, water and weather takes its toll. So this section of the moat fell in, the wall fell in, but in many ways it did a favor because then it lets fresh water in and out of the moat. There's the birds hanging out on the dock out there on their favorite spot. Wow,